your phone calls as soon as we get her back up. Again, we try to bring you a lot of the guests via video connection, plus it has better audio connection on Skype, but there are some problems when they're on an island in the middle of the Atlantic, obviously. But we're going to get into some of that. What are the consequences of not conforming to EU demands? Finance Minister Steingruber, a no vote does not mean we are refusing to pay. What are her thoughts on his statements? We'll find out if that statement's true and what her take on that is. Also, what could anti-war and anti-debt slavery movements learn from the success of the movement party in Iceland? And so those are some of the questions. We'll also go to live questions from listeners. Don't forget that you can't not only just listen to us on AM and FM dial, a lot of new affiliates picking us up, several new affiliates each week. The show's exploding. You can also listen via the free podcast that has a link up at the top of Infowars.com on the radio listen page, and the free iPhone app. 5-star rating, over 400 ratings now. 5-star ratings. Even if you don't have an iPhone, your friends and family probably do. Go to Infowars.com. Front page, there's a banner that gives you the sub-link on the iPhone store to the free download link. Please send that to your friends and family. That's another great way for us to reach new people with the news and information we cover, the guests we bring on, the callers, all the information, using this radio/TV show as a platform of awakening and resistance to this tyranny. Okay, Birgitta, going back to you. Here's a Twitter question from E9 Adam. What's the consequences of not conforming to EU demands?
Well, there's been a lot of doomsday consequences, scenarios told to the nation. I seriously have a feeling, because of this very strong signal from the Icelandic nation and actually a very little interest among the nation to join the EU, that there was actually a statement made by the chief of the EU application procedure saying that the UK, Netherlands, and Iceland should not be, the application should not be interfered with despite.
So first they were threatening to not let you in. Now that you don't want in, they're saying, "Oh no, go ahead and come in. We want to rob you like Greece." Here's another question. Have you heard this statement? Is it accurate? Finance Minister Steingruber, if I'm pronouncing that right, said a no vote does not mean we are refusing to pay. What are your thoughts on his statements?
Sometimes it really surprises me what he says. It is as if he is working for the British and the Dutch, not us.
So he did say that.
Well, he did say that. And however, let us not forget that the bank in question actually has a sustainable amount of assets that can be recovered. And so far, what the British and the Dutch can claim in it will actually be recovered by at least 88%.
Yeah, that was in the Times of London. They claimed that you all owed them $20,000+ every individual, and they had to take over all your infrastructure. Now they go, guess what? We don't even need that money. We already had the assets. So it was a giant, just like the banks here that have robbed us are all recording record profits, the same banks that are trying to rob you. I mean, that is such a key point that it turns out that they had the assets to begin with.
Yeah, and the thing is that they actually decided, Darling, the financial minister of the UK, he decided to move money within his own ministry and then earmark some of it, 700 billion Icelandic to the Icelandic nation, and then expect us to pay full interest, really high interest of that. It is a brilliant scheme, but we will not do it.
Exactly. You're wise to it. Americans should get wise as well. The collapse of Iceland was a private matter. Why do they want the people to pay it is a question from Resist Archipelago. Well,
in general, like every time you look at how the IMF functions, and I was actually reading a secret document leaked to WikiLeaks, which is a brilliant source if you want to sort of dig deeper into the real conspiracies of our world. And it was a manual from the military sector in the U.S. Talking about unconventional warfare. And in the unconventional warfare, the section about financial warfare, they talk about the IMF as one of their choice weapons. So, you know, I encourage people to study how the IMF functions. And,
exactly. It's a private consortium for blowing out countries, and the banks are attacking America. This is a criminal group. Let's go to some phone calls. Rick in Arizona, you're on the air with Birgitta Jónsdóttir, one of the main leaders in Parliament, defeating the scumbag banks. Go ahead, Rick.
Yes, thank both of you for fighting for freedom. I appreciate it. I have a question that has to do with one of your Twitter questions about, I don't know if is it a president that runs Iceland? It's the leader of Iceland, or they call him a president, or?
Well, we have a president, and then we have, doesn't really have a lot of power. But the main power lies with the Prime Minister of Iceland and the Finance Minister. They sort of co-share their power. Okay, well, here's the subject that I have here is for Alex also. I don't know if your staff that watched the whole Benedict Beck last night, but at the end of his show, he was discussing the 93% voted no to pay it back and the 1% voted for it. And then at the end of that part of his segment, he did mention that the leader of Iceland said that they will repay it. And I was he saying this is good because he supported the banker bailout? Yeah, I don't know if that. But I mean, he always flip flops. I mean, he's calling for new taxes to pay the bankers. Value added VAT was. I mean, did Beck imply it was bad that Iceland said no? No, he did not imply that, but he did mention that the leader of Iceland said that they will pay it anyway, and he was just kind of, and so I don't know if he was doing a flip-flop like that. So was he supportive of Iceland? He was supportive of their vote, yes. But well, good for him. Good for him. I saw him do some good work last Friday. I mean, I want to like Glenn Beck. It's just that I appreciate your call. Herman in New York, you're on the air with Miss Jónsdóttir.
Yes, hello, Alex. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a question and a comment. I'm going to go with my comment first. Did you see the article about how the states might not be returning some of the illegal tax money that the U.S. citizens are paying to the bankers, that they may actually hold it due to their state deficits? Absolutely, and now they're saying, oh, that tax return that Obama was going to give you, now most of you won't get it. But that's I'm going to let you go, Herman, because these are questions for our guest here. She's here especially for this. Cody in Washington, you're on the air. Go ahead.
All right, thanks. And I just want to say I love Iceland, by the way, the music, the culture, the people, and everything. And my question is what would you suggest, if you could, that we as citizens could do who were born into this corrupt system? What can we do to make a change, like you guys are in Iceland, to stand up to our, in our own...
Well, they got involved. They got educated. They took action. Birgitta comments on what he just said. How do we mimic and learn from your success?
Exactly like I said, just go and do it. I mean, we had 8 weeks before election. We had no money, but we used the internet. We used... all research we possibly can do, and we went and talked to people everywhere, and basically because people were hungry for change, you could involve so many people. And what we decided to do was not to hang our agenda on left or right politics. We decided to have an agenda, a checklist, a sort of a hit and run movement that would go inside, for example, the Parliament and try to implement real changes there.
It's simple. You didn't know the money, and you're not going to pay it.
Exactly. We never got any of this money when it comes to iSafe. Why should we pay it? Why are the American people giving $28 trillion to the banks? Cody, thanks. Andy in Florida, you're on the air.
Hi. Well, Iceland was always the home to Sigaros. Now it seems to be the home to freedom. And I just want to say that I've known a lot of Icelandic people, and I think that we as people who travel, we should visit Iceland and help support it. I'm just wondering, if we go there, I know there were issues with our credit cards being honored in Iceland. I'm just wondering, what are the day-to-day effects that Icelanders are feeling from this whole situation?
Tell folks what I mean, there was food shortages, everything. Break it down.
Well, we have all the credit lines opened again, and because it's a relatively small system, it was we could quite quickly recover or get back on track. There are no problems with any cards now or anything like that. So you can easily use your American credit card in Iceland or any credit card. What the